The human brain might be one of the smallest organs in the body, but it is the most powerful and the most important. It's like the CPU of a computer. It controls all the activities of the body. Once something goes wrong with it, it will affect every other body part. In fact, if something goes wrong in some parts of the brain, it can lead to complete paralysis of the limbs and even insanity. Therefore, it's vital that you do your best to protect your brain and boost its functions. It must matter to you that your brain is working at its optimum level because your life revolves around the effectiveness of this organ. The activities in your brain are the reason you form habits. They are also responsible for the effectiveness of medications. The reason medications work in your body is because there are receptors in your brain that binds to them. Therefore, you shouldn't be passive about protecting your brain and enhancing its abilities. In this short but educative video course, we will explore the various ways you can boost the functioning of your brain. There are many benefits you stand to enjoy when your brain is functioning at its peak level. We'll highlight them in one of the chapters. Ensure that you practice every tip you find in this material because they are based on research evidence. This journey promises to be life-changing. Therefore, ensure you have the right approach to it so that you can make the most out of it. In this video, we'll talk about brain power and brain health 101. Since brain health and brain power are the main themes of this video course, we'll begin by exploring them. Like many similar concepts, brain power and brain health are often used interchangeably. However, they're not the same. This chapter will explain the two ideas so that you can tell the difference. It'll also help you know what exactly it is that you're trying to improve when we start digging more into the subject matter. What is brain health? The crux of brain health is the ability of a person to function well when performing daily activities, including work. This includes functions such as making quality decisions, solving problems, enjoying emotional balance, and interacting successfully with others. All of these functions are based on the ability to remember, understand, learn new things, process information, think strategically, and being innovative when solving problems. Note that brain health is not the function. Rather, brain health is the fact that your brain is in a good state that enables it to carry out those functions. So, when your brain isn't healthy due to various reasons, which include an unhealthy lifestyle and accident, it'll not be able to carry out its functions effectively. There are many changes taking place in the brain when you think, learn, imagine, and feel. Your habits also lead to changes in the way your brain functions and can affect its performance. Therefore, you have a role to play in ensuring that your brain health isn't affected. World Health Organization's take on brain health. According to the World Health Organization, brain health is an emerging and growing phenomenon that encompasses plasticity, functioning, and recovery across the life course. When you have good brain health, you'll be able to realize your own abilities and maximize your emotional, psychological, behavioral, and cognitive functioning to cope with different life issues. Several interconnected biological and social determinants play a role in brain health and brain development, from preconception through to the end of life. These determinants are responsible for the way the brain develops, responds, and adapts to various situations. They give ways to strategize in order to prevent issues and make progress across the life course. Brain health conditions are characterized by disruptions in normal brain growth and brain functioning. They emerge throughout the life course and may manifest as neurological and neurodevelopmental conditions. They include headache, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, neuroinfections, autism spectrum disorders, cerebrovascular disease, brain tumors, epilepsy, cerebral palsy, dementia, traumatic injury, and neurological disorders resulting from malnutrition. Social healthcare for these conditions often requires multi-sectoral and interdisciplinary collaborations with a holistic person-centered approach focused on prevention, promotion, treatment, and care. They also include rehabilitation over the lifespan and the active engagement of persons experiencing the conditions and their families and carers as appropriate. What is brain power? Unlike brain health, brain power is all about the brain's functions. It includes intelligence and the ability to think. So, what we admire about people isn't their brain health, but their brain power. People with fantastic brain power are capable of handling highly intelligent activities and perform at a high level. You cannot afford to have low brain power in the modern world due to the fact that we are increasingly moving away from the days when we depend more on our muscles and strength. The most successful people in the modern world aren't the most muscular, but those that know how to maximize their brain power. These days, we are involved in many activities that require idea generation, business meetings, copywriting, and other endeavors that require you to be alert and focused. The pressure to perform at your optimum level is very high in the modern world. There are many people waiting in the queue to replace you if you cannot produce the goods. Therefore, it is vital that you're deliberate about improving your cognitive ability. When you have high brain power, it guarantees that you will be able to do more in a short time. Indeed, there are some people that are naturally super intelligent. Still, there are things that can be done to ensure that you can compete favorably with such people. Scientifically, brain power can be measured. It can be done using the Brain Health Index, BHI. The BHI is a multifaceted, science-based snapshot that helps to measure the brain's performance. You can subjectively detect when your brain performance is improving. However, tests like this can help you to track changes in your brain performance in an objective way. Fun facts about the brain. As we conclude this section, we'll highlight some fun facts about the brain as we prepare for further discussion regarding brain health and brain power in the next chapter. Below are some interesting facts about the brain that you will find intriguing. Incredible miles of blood vessels. The brain has more than 100,000 miles of blood vessels. This is striking because even the distance around the world at the equator isn't up to that. The distance is 24,900 miles. This implies that if the blood vessels in the brain were stretched out as a journey, it would take days to complete it. It's normal for your mind to wander. It's vital that you do all you can to stay focused. However, it's not necessarily a sign of indiscipline to find your mind wandering once in a while. Research has proven that some parts of the brain are responsible for controlling activities such as daydreaming. Interestingly, these parts are always active when your brain is at rest. Thinking consumes a lot of oxygen. Oxygen is the fuel of the brain. The more you think, the more it consumes. Serious and rigorous thinking, especially when you are anxious, can consume up to 50%. So you should try as much as possible to cut off anxiety to preserve your brain health. Size doesn't matter. Some people assume that an individual will be more intelligent when he or she has a relatively larger brain. However, this isn't true. There is no scientific evidence that supports the claim that a larger brain will make a person smarter. Jelly-like texture. The average adult human brain weighs around 3 pounds. Interestingly, it has a texture that feels like firm jelly. Have you ever wondered what it feels like if you touch the human brain? There it is. High blood consumption. The brain carries out a lot of activities within a short period. Therefore, it's not shocking that it consumes a lot of blood. In fact, up to 1/4 of the blood pumped by the heart arteries goes to the brain. Ultra-connected. The brain works like an electric circuit. Every action carried out by other parts of the body is a product of the connections in the brain. For example, when you recall a thought, it's due to a connection in the brain. Neuron forest. 10% of the brain is made up of over 100 billion neurons. These neurons branch out to over 100 trillion trigger points. This forms a vast connection of nerve cells that experts refer to as the neuron forest. In this video, we'll discover about the science behind brain function improvement. Scientists have proven that it is possible to boost brain health and brain power. Of course, if it were not possible, there wouldn't be any reason to create this course. Food and exercise, in particular, have been pinpointed by scientists as two things that have the ability to enhance brain power and brain health. In this chapter, we'll explore the scientific explanations regarding how food and exercise help to improve brain health and brain power. The link between food and brain health. The mantra, "We are what we eat," isn't far from the truth. Nutrition plays a vital role in various parts of our body, including our emotions and brain health. The brain is always functioning, even when you're sleeping. The implication of this is that it needs a constant supply of energy. The fuel it needs to handle all of its activities comes from the food you eat. Therefore, the content of the fuel matters. What you eat affects the function and structure of your brain. Ultimately, this affects the functioning of your body parts and also your mood. According to the Harvard Medical School, your brain is like an expensive car that only works at its maximum when it gets premium fuel. Therefore, it's crucial that you eat high-quality foods that contain the nutrients the brain needs, such as minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants. These nutrients nourish and protect the brain from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is a product of free radicals, wastes, that are produced when the body uses oxygen, which damages body cells. Sadly, just like an expensive car, your brain can be damaged if you use any other thing apart from premium fuel. If you ingest substances from low premium fuel, such as what is obtainable from processed or refined foods, your brain has little ability to get rid of them when they get to it. For example, diets that are high in refined sugars are harmful to the brain. Moreover, they can worsen your body's regulation of insulin, which promotes oxidative stress and inflammation. Research has shown that there is a correlation between a diet high in refined sugars and impaired brain function. These foods can also worsen the symptoms of mood disorders, such as depression. If you deprive your brain of high-quality nutrition and it builds up free radicals, you can be certain that it will lead to damages that will affect both brain health and brain functions. When damaging inflammatory cells circulate with the enclosed space of the brain, it can contribute to brain tissue injury, thereby impairing brain power and brain health. According to the medical school, the field of medicine didn't acknowledge the link between food and mood, which is surprising in the light of recent studies and findings. The story is different today, as the burgeoning field of nutritional psychiatry has discovered that there are many consequences and correlations between what you eat, your feelings, and how you behave. The link between food and emotional intelligence. Foods can affect your emotional intelligence, which is your ability to respond in a coordinated manner rather than based on your feelings. This happens due to the activities of a neurotransmitter in the brain known as serotonin. This neurotransmitter regulates sleep and appetite. It also mediates moods and helps in the inhibition of pain. About 95% of your serotonin is produced in the gastrointestinal tract. Meanwhile, this tract is lined with 100 million nerve cells. So, the inner workings of your digestive tract do more than digesting food. It also guides your emotions. The functions of serotonin are guided by the billions of beneficial bacteria inhabiting your intestine. These bacteria are essential in the maintenance of your health. They are responsible for the protection of the lining of your intestines and ensuring that the intestines have a strong barrier against harmful bacteria and toxins. They also limit inflammation and improve the absorption of nutrients from food. They also activate neural pathways that travel between the brain and the gut, Research has proven that people that eat traditional diets, such as the Mediterranean diet, are less likely to suffer from depression. People who eat typical Western diets are 25% to 30% more likely to suffer from a mood disorder like depression. The investigators explain that the reason for this difference is that traditional diets are rich in vegetables, fish, unprocessed grains, fruits, seafood, and only modest amounts of dairy and lean meats. They are also devoid of refined foods and sugars, which are the staples of Western diets. You can investigate these claims by eating only Western foods for a month and write how you felt in your journal. Then switch diets in the next month. Eat only traditional foods in the next month and compare how you feel with the previous month. You would notice that the difference is clear. So, when you eat high-quality foods, you will not only boost your brain health and brain power, but you'll also improve your emotional intelligence. The link between exercise and brain health. According to the Cleveland Clinic, every time you take a walk, pedal a mile, and for every lap you swim around the pool, you're boosting your cognitive abilities. Studies have proven that exercise doesn't only affect the body, it also affects your brain. According to Aaron Bonner Jackson, a neuropsychologist, physical activities make a major difference in both body and brain functioning. So, when you're working out, don't only focus on the bodily benefit of the activity. You should also be conscious about the fact that it's beneficial to your brain health. In a study involving 454 older adults who underwent yearly physical exams and cognitive tests for 20 years, the participants agreed to donate their brains for research when they died. They were given accelerometers to track their movement and physical activity around the clock. The study showed that those who moved more had higher scores when the memory and thinking were measured. The study also showed that physically active participants were at lower risk of suffering dementia by 31% when compared with others. Even when the investigators accounted for the participants' brain pathology, the result was still consistent. In another study involving 160 sedentary older people with mild cognitive impairment, the result was similar. These participants were assigned to take part in aerobic exercise, eat a heart-healthy, dietary approaches to stop hypertension (DASH) diet, receive health education, or combine aerobic exercise with the DASH diet. The study lasted for 6 months. The researchers discovered that those who followed only the DASH diet didn't improve when their executive function, problem-solving, decision-making was evaluated. As for the group that only received health education, their function worsened. However, the participants that combined the diet with exercise showed remarkable improvement in their ability to think and memory. As we conclude this chapter, the summary is that you need a combination of high-quality food and exercise to optimize your brain health and brain power. There's no specific thing that enhances brain power and brain health. It's often a combination of various things. In the next section, we'll explore more tips that can help you to train your brain. In this video, we'll discover how to train your brain. After examining how food and exercise boost brain power and brain health based on scientific findings and explanations, we'll proceed on this journey by highlighting and explaining how you can train your brain to boost its functioning. The following tips will help in this regard. Work your memory. Your ability to recall events and memories is a crucial part of your brain power. The good news is that you can enhance it by putting it to good use. You can be deliberate about boosting your brain power by engaging yourself in memory activities that will task your ability to receive, analyze, and remember. In her book, The Creative Habit, Twyla Tharp explained how she increased her brain power by trying to remember the first 12 to 14 corrections of a choreography performance she wants to discuss with her cast without writing them down. This is not a feat you should take for granted because most people aren't able to remember more than 3. Unlike her, you mightn't have had dancers to correct. Still, you might be expected to give feedback on a presentation, or your friends might ask you to highlight the things you find interesting about a location. Take advantage of those opportunities to flex your memory muscles. Drink coffee. You might have noticed that many people start their day with a cup of coffee. This morning ritual is scintillating to the taste buds, but it is far more than that. It has short-term benefits by boosting your cognitive functions until the effect wears off. The reason this impact has is that it contains caffeine, which makes you more alert. Meanwhile, you need to be very focused and alert, especially when you're doing tasks that are tedious and repetitive. Such tasks put a lot of demand on your reasoning and reaction time. So ingesting a substance that can enhance your alertness goes a long way in helping you be more effective when carrying out such tasks. Note that you shouldn't abuse this substance so that your brain will not be too dependent on it. Take it moderately when necessary to keep enjoying its impact when you need it. Read books. Research has proven that intelligence quotient, IQ, isn't a static measure. In other words, you can raise your IQ through some activities. It has been proven by researchers from the University of Edinburgh that education is the more robust, consistent, and durable method of increasing IQ. Another study showed that each year of exposure to academic content increases an individual's IQ by 5 points. So, if it matters to you to increase your brain power, you should consider reading more books. Generally, reading books makes you smarter because you'll have knowledge about things that others don't. Therefore, when you talk, you'll offer unusual insight into subject matters that will make you earn the respect of others. Many successful people in the modern world are known for their culture of reading books. There's no doubt that it's a habit that will make you smarter and wiser in your approach to different situations. Try a different approach. When you do something in a particular way, your brain creates a neural pathway for it. When you repeat it at different times, your brain gets used to it and saves that pathway. So, your brain isn't developing when you're always doing things in the same way. A change in approach will mean that your brain will have to create a new pathway, which enhances its abilities. A change in approach can help you break free from a bad habit. For example, if you have a habit of consuming alcohol whenever you come back from work stressed, your brain has documented that neural pathway. That's why you'll notice that you're not thinking through the process before you find yourself doing it. So, you can make a difference by choosing to visit a friend instead of going home directly on a day you're stressed. Of course, it shouldn't be a friend that would welcome you with alcohol. A change in approach can be all you need to break free from addictions while enhancing your cognitive abilities. Limit crossword puzzles. Many people have activities that they assume will help to improve their cognitive ability, and crossword puzzles are one of them. Crossword puzzles can be fun, especially for people who find them interesting. It can help you improve your fluency too. Most people assume that playing this game will make them smarter. However, studies have proven that this activity strains the brain instead of sharpening it. To make it worse, research has shown that it doesn't offer much value in training the brain or preventing a disease like Alzheimer's. This doesn't mean that you should stop playing it, especially if you find it fun. Yet, don't think that it's contributing much to your ability to solve practical problems. If you want activities that can boost your decision-making and problem-solving ability, crossword puzzles shouldn't be in that list because it doesn't offer much when it comes to these aspects. Tell good stories. Stories enable us to solidify memories, share moments, and interpret events. So, you can boost your brain power by telling stories about events in the past to your friends and family. It's also an effective way to relieve great moments. Try to avoid telling stories about traumatic events unless you're very sure that you have overcome them. If you can make a joke out of a bad experience, it shows that you have moved on from it. Turn off electronics 30 minutes before bed. Our digital devices are meant to help improve the quality of our lives. Sadly, they have done more harm than good in the lives of many people. Many people are addicted to digital devices in such a way that they affect the quality of their sleep and increase their anxiety levels. The fear of missing out, FOMO, is one of the mental health issues that have been discovered as a result of excessive exposure to social media. Studies have proven that screen media activities have adverse impacts on the brain activities. So it is better if you spend more time on exercise and spend time with your loved ones, rather than play games or watch TV. Moving your body during exercise teaches your brain to learn new muscle skills, practice balance, and estimate distance. Try to turn off electronic and digital devices at least 30 minutes before you go to bed to ensure that you have quality sleep. Learn new things. Improving your skills is one of the best ways you can boost your brain power. For example, if you learn how to play a new instrument, it increases your ability to translate something you see to something you do. Your brain will have to create several neural paths during this period, which bodes well for your brain power. Learning a new language can also have the same impact because it increases your ability to think and express yourself in different ways. Research has shown that learning how to dance can help seniors reduce the risk of suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Ensure that you don't just learn something new for the sake of it. Endeavor to learn something you find interesting so that you'll not quit in the middle because you're struggling with it. So think twice before you choose what you will prefer to learn. It should also be a skill you'll find useful.